What started as the happiest day of my life, the day I became a mother, turned into a nightmare I never saw coming. It's a story that will make your blood boil, a story about jealousy, family secrets, and the moment I had to choose between keeping the peace and protecting my son. And now, my entire family is shattered because I pressed charges. My life was pretty much perfect before everything went sideways. I had an amazing husband, Marcus, a rewarding job as a software developer, and we were about to welcome our first baby into the world. Our little unit was thriving. The only cloud in my sunny sky was Marcus's sister, my sister-in-law, Emma. Emma had been married to her husband, Derek, for 5 years, and she was absolutely obsessed with having the first grandson in the family. It was a pressure I couldn't understand, a tradition she was determined to uphold. "You know how much it means to Mom to have a grandson to carry on the family name," Emma would say at every family dinner, shooting me pointed looks while rubbing her still flat stomach. "Derek and I have been trying for so long." I tried to be understanding at first. I really did. Marcus and I hadn't even been planning to start our family yet. But as you know, sometimes life has other ideas. When we announced our pregnancy at Christmas dinner, I watched Emma's face turn from excited to stone cold the moment she realized she wasn't the center of attention. The room went silent, and then she said the words that made a cold chill run down my spine. "Well, hopefully it's a girl," she said with a tight smile, "since Derek and I are trying for a boy." My mother-in-law, Linda, just patted Emma's hand. "Of course you'll have the first grandson, sweetheart. You're the eldest, after all." I felt Marcus squeeze my hand under the table. He'd always been protective of me, especially when it came to his sister's intense personality, but even he couldn't have predicted how bad things would get. He was used to the passive-aggressive comments, the snide remarks, but this felt different. This was something darker. This was an obsession taking root. As my pregnancy progressed, Emma's behavior became increasingly erratic. She'd corner me at family gatherings to share horror stories about birth defects and complications, rattling off medical terms she'd clearly just Googled. She'd talk about how some women don't know how to carry a baby right. When we revealed we were having a boy at the gender reveal party, she locked herself in the bathroom for an hour while Linda cooed through the door, saying how it wasn't fair that I was having a boy first. Derek would just stand there looking uncomfortable, occasionally mumbling something like, "These things happen," while Emma ranted about how I must have timed my pregnancy on purpose just to spite her. The worst part was watching Linda encourage this behavior, constantly reminding everyone how Emma had always dreamed of giving her father the first grandson. She was validating Emma's jealousy, giving it permission to grow. The breaking point, the point of no return, came when I went into labor 3 weeks early. The timing was unexpected, but it made everything feel even more urgent. Marcus was amazing, getting me to the hospital in record time while juggling calls to family members. Dr. Sarah Chen, my friend from college who now ran the maternity ward, made sure I had the best care possible. Little Jaime came into the world screaming his lungs out, perfectly healthy at 6 lbs, 4 Oz. I was exhausted but blissfully happy, cradling my son while Marcus made the announcement calls. When he called Emma and Linda, I could hear the screaming through the phone, even from across the room. In that moment, all I knew was that my beautiful baby boy was here and nothing could ruin this perfect moment, or so I thought. I was just getting ready to nurse Jaime when Emma burst into my hospital room, her face twisted with a rage I had never seen before. Marcus had just stepped out to grab coffee, and I was alone, except for my sleeping baby in the bassinet. "How dare you? You did this on purpose." Her voice shook with anger as she stormed toward my bed. "You knew I was doing fertility treatments. You knew this was supposed to be my moment." "Emma, please, lower your voice. Jaime's sleeping." I tried to stay calm, my hand instinctively reaching for the call button on the side of the bed. Derek appeared in the doorway looking anxious and terrified. "Emma, honey, let's come back later when you're calmer." She whirled on him. "Shut up. You never stand up for me. This should have been our son." I carefully got out of bed, planning to move between Emma and the bassinet to shield my baby. That's when she grabbed my shoulders, and slammed me into the wall. My head cracked against the surface and I saw stars. My vision swam. "I hate you. You stole everything from me." She was screaming in my face when Dr. Chen rushed in, followed by a hospital security guard. "What's going on here?" Sarah's authoritative voice cut through the chaos. "Security, escort them out immediately and pull the camera footage. I want this documented." Emma fought against the security guard, flailing and screaming while Derek just stood there, pale-faced. "This isn't like her," he kept mumbling. "She's just emotional." Linda arrived just as they were dragging Emma out, her eyes wide with feigned shock. "Oh, sweetheart, what happened?" "Kelsey, you must have provoked her somehow. You know how sensitive she is about having a baby." Sarah was already examining the growing lump on my head. "Mrs. Walker, your daughter just assaulted my patient. This is a serious matter." "It was just a little family disagreement." Linda waved her hand dismissively. "Kelsey's fine. Emma's the one who's suffering." Marcus returned then, taking in my tears, Sarah's examination, and the security guards. His coffee cup hit the floor, spilling a dark puddle across the linoleum. "What happened?" "Your sister attacked your wife," Sarah said bluntly, photographing my injuries with her phone. "It's all on camera. As hospital administrator, I'm required to report this." "She what?" Marcus looked shell-shocked. Linda tried to intervene. "Marcus, you know your sister would never hurt anyone. Kelsey probably just lost her balance." "Actually," Derek's quiet voice came from the doorway. He'd come back alone. He looked up, his eyes meeting mine. "I saw everything. Emma was completely out of control. I've never seen her like that before, or maybe I just never wanted to see it." Later that evening, after everyone had gone, Marcus gently helped me change into a fresh hospital gown. His sharp intake of breath told me he'd spotted the bruises blooming across my shoulders. "That's it." His voice was cold and steady. "I want her arrested." I touched the tender spot on my head, remembering Emma's wild eyes and Linda's dismissal of the whole thing. "You know what? So do I." I didn't realize then that this decision would tear the entire family apart, but looking at my sleeping son, I knew I had to protect him and myself no matter what. Officer Mike Torres sat across from my hospital bed, his notepad ready, as he reviewed the security footage on his tablet. I could see Emma's attack playing out in the reflection of his glasses. "The hospital has agreed to press charges as well," Sarah explained, handing him a thick folder. "We have photos of the injuries and witness statements from staff members." "Mrs. Walker," Officer Torres said, looking up from his notes, "I should inform you that this isn't the first complaint about your sister-in-law." Marcus gripped my hand tighter. "What kind of reports?" "She threw a stapler at her assistant for announcing her pregnancy. There was also an incident at a baby shower where she destroyed the decorations." Torres flipped through his notes. "The victims were convinced not to press charges." "By my mother, no doubt," Marcus said bitterly. As if summoned by her name, Linda burst into the room, Derek trailing behind her. "Kelsey, you need to drop this right now. Emma's absolutely devastated. She's already apologized." "Actually," Derek stepped forward, looking more confident than I'd ever seen him. His voice was firm. "She hasn't apologized and she won't. I found her journal, Linda. She's been planning to confront Kelsey for weeks. There are disturbing things in there." Linda's face went pale. "Well, that's private. You had no right." "Like her list of ways to cause a miscarriage?" Derek's voice shook. "Or her plans to switch Kelsey's prenatal vitamins? Thank God she never went through with it. But the intent was there." Sarah made a sharp sound of disgust while Officer Torres started writing rapidly. "I've already contacted a divorce lawyer," Derek continued, "and I'm fighting for full custody of our daughter, Amy. She's not safe. Linda, your enabling has made it worse." "How dare you?" Linda turned to Marcus. "Are you going to let them destroy your sister's life over a little push?" Marcus stood up slowly. His face was a mask of cold fury. "Get out, Mom. You're not welcome here anymore. Not until you realize what you've done." Well, Linda drew herself up. I'm sure the rest of the family will be very interested to hear how you're choosing your wife over your own blood. They already know. Sarah held up her phone. I'm in a group chat with your nieces. They're the ones who told me about the stapler incident. The whole family's been enabling Emma for years, but this was the last straw. Your cousin Jackie is on her way here now. She's a victim's advocate. Linda stormed out, but Derek lingered. I'm so sorry, Kelsey. I should have done something sooner. We'll definitely need your statement, sir, Officer Torres said, and that journal. I watched Derek leave, shoulders straight despite his obvious pain. 6 months later, I sat in the courtroom watching Emma's sentencing. She tried to play the victim during the trial, but the evidence was overwhelming. The hospital footage, Derek's testimony about her journal, and the string of witnesses describing her previous aggressive behavior painted a clear picture. 6 months of jail time, followed by 2 years of probation and mandatory anger management counseling, the judge announced. Emma's face crumpled as the reality hit her. This is all your fault, she shouted, trying to lunge at me but was quickly restrained by the bailiff. Her outburst just reinforced everyone's testimony about her unstable behavior. Derek had already won full custody of their daughter, Amy. His evidence of Emma's obsession and violent tendencies had shocked even the family court judge. Linda tried to testify in Emma's favor, but her obvious enabling and dismissal of serious concerns only hurt their case. I'm moving back home to Colorado, Derek told us after the sentencing. Amy needs a fresh start away from all this toxicity. You're welcome to visit anytime. She should know the healthy side of her family. The family dynamics had shifted dramatically over the past months. Linda's attempts to rally support for Emma backfired spectacularly after Jackie shared the full story with the extended family, including Emma's disturbing journal entries. Most relatives distanced themselves from both Emma and Linda. You've made your bed, Aunt Susan told Linda at the last family gathering. We love you, but we won't help you enable dangerous behavior anymore. Marcus's cousin Rachel, who'd suffered a miscarriage after Emma's stapler incident caused her to fall, finally spoke up about her experience. Other victims of Emma's aggression came forward too, each story worse than the last. I should have done this years ago, Marcus said as we left the courthouse. Set boundaries, stood up to Mom, protected others from Emma. I was too busy trying to keep the peace. Life settled into a new normal. Jaime thrived, surrounded by loving relatives who genuinely celebrated his milestones. I grew closer to Marcus's cousins, especially Jackie and Rachel, who became regular fixtures at our Sunday dinners. Linda eventually reached out to a family therapist, finally recognizing her role in enabling Emma's behavior. It was a start, though reconciliation would take time and real change. Last week I received a letter from Emma's anger management counselor. Emma wanted to apologize, claiming she changed. I returned it unopened. Some bridges stay burned. You got a package? Marcus called from the kitchen. It was from Derek, a photo of Amy's first day of kindergarten in Colorado. She looked happy, healthy, and free from the weight of her mother's issues. I pinned it to our fridge, right next to Jaime's first birthday photos. Looking at their smiling faces, I knew we'd made the right choice. Sometimes the happiest ending isn't about forgiveness. It's about breaking free and building something better from the ashes. Emma lost everything because she couldn't handle someone else's happiness. I gained a stronger marriage, closer family bonds, and the peace of knowing my son would grow up in a healthier environment. That's the best revenge of all. But I have to ask you, what would you have done differently in my shoes? Should I have accepted Emma's apology letter from anger management? Or did I make the right choice sending it back unopened? Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments section below and don't forget to like, share, and follow. Thanks to all for your support.